Good morning. So, how we feel, how it is that we change how we feel about certain things. So, how you feel about anything is decided by three things. We call them the triad. Imagine a triangle. And the bottom one is physiology. And then on one angle, you've got focus/belief. And then on the other angle, this side, you've got language. So, let's first talk about physiology. The quickest way to change how you feel about anything is to change your physical body. A radical change in movement will completely change how you feel, and then changing how you feel is going to change about how you feel what's going on around you. Let's take athletes as an example. And by the way, we know this with our kids. When our kids are feeling down or tired, we tell them, get off the video game, go outside and run around, get up and move around, sit up. But with sports, it's the easiest way to see this. If an athlete is getting ready to perform in a particular sport, what do? They change their physiology. So like football players, they grab each other by the shoulder pads and they hit each other on their helmets and they slap each other around and they get ready. But baseball players are even better. They can still stand there relaxed, but when it comes time for a play to start, they have certain movements but they get themselves ready. They get themselves in a physical stance, what we might call a sports stance or an athletic stance. In a batter, they will sit there and they will do all these routines, which are actually anchors, something that we can talk about down the road. But they do these routines to get themselves in state. Now, let's say that you're coaching a kid in baseball, and the kid's walking up to the pitcher and he's walking like this, and he's dragging the bat. And then he gets up and he sets the bat on his shoulder and he sits back like this. Are you going to let him bat like that? No, of course not. Because why? Because he's not ready. He or she is not in state, in the proper physiology in order to bat. They've got to be ready. You've got to be in the right physiology, because that physiology is going to change how you feel, how you're looking at what's going on. It's going to change everything in terms of how you're approaching what's happening around you right now. The same is true with every other aspect of life. If you go into influence as a salesperson and your physiology is terrible and your vocal tonality is, you wouldn't want to buy this, would you? Well, you're not going to make any sales. It doesn't matter how many calls that you have. If you go in to influence your kids and your physiology is awful because you've had a terrible day, you're not going to be able to influence them. If you come home and you want to connect with your spouse and your physiology is down and it's slouching and you're not going to be successful in order to do that. The quickest way to change how we feel is to change our physiology. And, if you're tired and don't have any energy, but all of a sudden something happens that's either super exciting or, maybe there's an emergency, you don't feel tired anymore. That's like all gone. Coffee's done. Well, what do? Well, you change your physiology. If all of a sudden something happens, you stand up. Athletes that have been blind since birth, when they win, they celebrate by putting their arms in the air and jumping. If you watch the Paralympics, there's a great photo of a person who won. I think it was a lady who won the 220 race. Had been blind since birth, and there's this great picture of her jumping up in the air. We celebrate the same way. We celebrate with our physiology, and you don't truly celebrate unless you're up. You're up in the air and you're physically up, and it's impossible to feel that true exuberance and celebration unless you use your physiology in that manner. Well, if you do that move, you'll feel that same way. So what happened with her, she felt that and did the move, but you can do the move and then you'll start to feel those same feelings. Sow the same seeds, you're going to reap the same rewards. So physiology is the way to change how you feel at any time about anything. You want to change how you're feeling about something? Stand up, breathe deep, move, make sharp, sudden movements. Go back and think about times when you felt excited and exuberant and happy and joyful, and look at how you move and and what you're thinking about during those times, and you'll be able to recreate those events. But the quickest way, we'll talk about the other two sides of the triad tomorrow, the quickest way to change how we feel about anything is to change our physiology. And if athletes get themselves in a certain state before they do something important, shouldn't we? Before I go to give any type of speech, before I'm going to argue something in court, I have a series of anchors that I use to put myself in the right physiology, in the right state in order to do the best job that I can do at those particular arguments. We also should do those when we interact with our spouse, when we interact with our kids, when we interact with the people that we work with, when we interact with our parents. It's super easy to get ourselves ready just like we would if we were an athlete. And the way to do it is to change our physiology. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other. See you tomorrow.